I'm going to show you guys how to get a very quick and precise zero on your AR-15 with a minimal amount of tools. Very important to know exactly where your bullets are going, not only for performance and accuracy, but for safety. You need to be accountable for all the shots that leave this gun. What does it mean to zero our gun? It means to know at what distance our point of aim and point of impact meet. As soon as the bullet comes out of the barrel, it falls from gravity. So what we're actually going to do is angle our gun up by adjusting our perspective through the optic down, which is going to cause the bullet to travel in an arc. It is going to meet at 50 yards. That's our first intersection point, our initial zero. It's going to rise to the max ordinate point at 100 to 150 yards, depending on the gun you're shooting, about 1.5 inches to 2 inches high here, and then fall back down to our second intersection point at 200 to 250 yards, once again, depending on the gun and the ammo that you're shooting. Some people prefer a different zero, like a 100-yard zero. However, I like the 50-yard zero because from the muzzle to 250 yards, I never have to think about holding over or under more than 2 inches. Let's make it happen. Here's the things you're going to need to get your zero squared away. Obviously, your rifle and the optic you want to put on it, a magazine of the same quality, consistent ammunition, an optic adjustment tool or a spent casing, and then finally a ruler and a marker to track your data and make precise adjustments. Make sure you have a target prepared that's nice and clean, no bullet holes that are going to confuse you. Make sure before you zero your gun that your barrel nut and rail are tight and torqued to the manufacturer's specifications. Take your optic, install it onto the Picatinny rail, and push it down and forward to make sure that it does not shift under recoil. While pushing it forward, tighten the QD levers or the screws. Co-witnessing means that the optic and backup iron sights are in alignment. However, you do not need to use them together. They are simply there as a backup. Before you shoot, make sure you check your owner's manual and find out which direction you need to move the adjustment turrets and how much per click they move the bullet impact. This optic and many others is a half MOA per click. For simplicity's sake, let's define what MOA is. That means 1 minute of angle, which is a 60th of 1 degree. What does that mean for us? It's 1 inch at 100 yards practically. When we start our zero process, we're going to shoot only at 10 yards first. Why? To make sure that we're on paper so we can make better adjustments later. I'm going to have a small 1-inch aiming reference. You can draw a square or put up a black pasty. And I want my bullet impact at 10 yards to be 2 inches low. Why? Because the optic is 2 inches higher than the muzzle. We're going to take 5 controlled shots as accurately as possible, not changing our point of aim. We are centered vertically and horizontally. If you don't have a ruler with you, use a spent casing to check to make sure that it's about 2 inches low. If you guys had a group that was off center, I would make some gross adjustments to get that group in the general area, but don't spend too much time here fine-tuning it. We just want to get close, then head to 50 yards. Let's go put our target at 50 yards. If you don't have a laser rangefinder, a long, smooth pace is about a yard. Let's walk out 50 steps. When I configure my target, I want to make sure that it's in line as straight as possible with my bore. Since I'm shooting from the prone, I'm actually going to put my bullseye down low, so I'm not introducing any angles when I shoot my groups. Also make sure the target is square to your shooting position. Let's talk about safely getting into the prone position. First, swim out of the sling. This is important so when you go down, if your hand falls, it doesn't point the muzzle to the side. So swim out of the sling. Squat down, place your hand in front of you, then kick your legs out and settle down into the prone. I'm going to get low onto the gun, rest the magazine, and dig it into the ground. It won't cause a malfunction. Splay my elbows, my legs, and my feet out as flat as possible, then touch my chin to the stock and look through the sights. I'm going to get what's called my natural point of aim. I'm going to breathe in and out and watch the sight settle on the target. I do not want to have to muscle the gun one way to have my optic where I want it. Make sure to adjust your optic brightness so that it's dim enough that it's not blooming and creating a fuzzy image, but it's also bright enough so that you can easily see it. In order to get a good group for our zero, let's make sure our marksmanship fundamentals are in check. Aim consistently by looking through the optic in the same spot. Pull the trigger smoothly. If the sight didn't move, you did it right. Let's go check out the shots. The reason we use a 5-shot group instead of 3 or a lower number is if I have a flyer, I don't want that to influence what I see is the center point of the group. I want good data. Mark the center point of the group and disregard any flyers. Measure the distance from your intended point of impact. I'm 2.5 inches to the left, so I want to move the bullet impact 2.5 inches to the right. Here's how I make adjustments quickly with confidence. I know I need to move the bullet impact 2.5 inches to the right. I know my optic is a half MOA per click, and I know that I shot at 50 yards. This means per click, I only move the bullet impact 1/4 of an inch at the 50-yard distance we're shooting at. So here's what that means. In order to get 1 inch, I move the optic 4 clicks. So 4 clicks times 2.5 inches to the right means I need to go 10 clicks to the right. Make sure you make your adjustments correctly. This optic says clockwise moves the bullet impact right. So I'm going to go 10 clicks clockwise. Sometimes if you've got eye issues like an astigmatism, you can flip the rear peep sight up, look through it to the red dot, and that can clean the image up for you and make it sharper. Alright guys, I've got 4 shots touching the X ring, so my point of aim matches my point of impact at 50 yards. Let's confirm at 200 and then see what our CQB offset is. Once we've got our zero at distance, we need to know exactly where our bullets hit from 0 to 25 yards. Check your CQB offset and apply it. Let's go check it out. Take the distance that it's off and hold your red dot that distance high. Let's make it happen. Let's go check it out. It's as simple as that, guy. Take your distance, hold your red dot over, right where it needs to be. Check this from 0 to 25 yards. Good to go. So, when you take the time to set up your zero properly, by installing your equipment correctly, making precise zero adjustments, and reconfirming, you'll have an accurate zero from 0 to 200 yards. Thanks for watching. Get out there and shoot.